Welcome back to Stamping at the Warren. I'm Kim Tolton, an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in the UK, and today I am going to be showing you a masking technique to create this little card here. So this is a combination of you've got this is a two very large background stamps. I'm just using this particular one, which is like a Hessian weave type of stamp, so I'm going to use this to create the background for the tree, and the other one that I'm using is the sheltering tree, which has been so popular this year, as it allows you to make cards for all occasions and for all the major events in the year, so the 4 seasons. So to start with, you need to create your mask. Now, you know from past posts that I can't actually get my Big Shot into frame at the moment, so I'm going to talk you through the process of what I did. So to get this tree, so it's a leaf that forms the actual shape to the tree, I used the leaflets, framelets, and it was the largest one, the maple tree, the maple leaf one, and that then went through my Big Shot. I just used, this is a piece of my old grid paper, so you can see here this is from past projects. So I run it through my Big Shot with this sandwich, so I had the magnetic platform on the bottom, then in went a piece of scrap paper, just printer paper would be sufficient, down went the die, and you want to place it so that you've got sufficient space that you're not going to get marking from outside of the mask once it's done. And then so you had your magnetic platform, a cutting plate, like an acrylic plate, then you have your die on top of the scrap paper, and do make sure that you've got the cutting blade down. So if you can see that on shot, there's a ridge on one side of the die, and that's the actual cutting blade, so you must make sure that that's face down so that it will cut the cardstock out, otherwise it will come out stuck into your top acrylic plate. So the top cutting plate goes on top there, that whole thing goes through the Big Shot, and what you're left with when you open it up is a piece of paper with a hole in it. There you go. You can see my nice stained hands from my quinces the other day. And this is going to be our mask, so this is what's going to create that background. So to start with, you obviously need to make your card base, and this is an A6 card, so therefore the card base is thicker Whisper White cardstock, measuring 21 centimeters by 14.8 centimeters, and along the middle of that long line you score at 10.5 centimeters. Fold towards that knobbly crease so that when it's inside the card it's not seen. If it's on the outside it tends to fracture and you end up with an ugly piece of cardstock, and that can go to one side for a moment. Next you want a piece of just regular Whisper White cardstock that measures 14 centimeters by 9.7 centimeters, and you're going to place this on top of your card, roughly where you want, so you just want to have an idea of where you want the base of your tree to be. And I'm going to go there. So if you have your piece of cardstock square, you know that if you've then got the paper square that you're going to be pretty much okay. And then this is that lovely Hessian like stamp, and I'm using Pear Pizzazz with this to create the leafy colour. You could, if you want, use some washi tape just to hold down the cardstock and the actual mask if you wanted to. And then I'm doing it this way so that no, you want to go this way to get it all in. So you want to be able to cover as much of that stamp. I think actually I will go this way, and then if I need to I'll re-ink. So where are we? Yeah, I'm going to do 2 stamps. One there. Re-ink it. Oops, sorry, camera wobble. Oh, look, that's why you should hold it down. There you go. And then this one just down here. It doesn't look very much when you take it off. It all looks a bit odd, but trust me, it works. Okay, so your next job then is to put your definition. So you'll see once this goes over, you've got that. So we're using chocolate chip, which I thought I got out, but possibly not. No, still on my stand. You could use a Stampin' Up to get your placings completely right, but you don't necessarily need to do that. And then because this is photopolymer, you can see right through, down, hold, and up you come. And there's your tree, look. And each one will be slightly different. Okay. Right, so let's pop my die away before I lose it. If you're ever unsure about how many dies are in your pack, it is written on the front here. So you get the name of the pack is on the back, leaflets, framelits die, and then on the back you've actually got 6, so there's 6 dies in there, and it even gives you the measurements of each one. I like to put mine away as I work. So next will be this oddly strange, almost looks like a slug, or dare I say it, a leech. And I'm using some Sahara sand here. Just ink it up, and that's just to create another little bit just down here. There you go, so it just gives you something for your tree to be standing on. And next is just to create a bit of colour here at the bottom, and I've done this by using the leaf, what would normally be the leaf pattern. I just need to remount my stamp, pop that on there. So this is what would be the leaf, so if you weren't masking, that potentially could be that there. And I'm using a combination of colours here, so there's going to be Calypso Coral, Blushing Bride and Pear Pizzazz. What you're going to do is you're just going to use the edge of your stamp, and you're just going to randomly add a bit of colour. First with that one, then Calypso Coral, and you can just about see if there's colour there, so you can avoid. And the reason I went for these colours, for me it was all about autumn, and I thought these are the colours of the trees just before they completely shed their leaves. Right, and that should be enough. You don't want too much. And then just stamp that down below here. you go, see, little leaves. And next is the sentiment. Beautiful one. This is the friendship one, which is just beautiful. And we're going to go with chocolate chip again, as that's the colour we use for the tree, so it just ties it all in. And the two colour collections I've used here today is the neutrals and subtles, and that's all I've used. Most people have the subtles, so, and there you are. I've just, where that little bit of ground was, I've just put the sentiment in there, as I say, with chocolate chip. Next is a little bit of ribbon before we mat this onto some cardstock. So what we're using is this lovely cotton ribbon, and I'm using I think this is Pear Pizzazz, yes. So just wrap it around, and you probably know by now that I do a bunny ears method. Now I start mine this way, so I tie the knot, I hold the knot, turn it around, bear with me, and then this first loop, put the tail away from you, this loop, put the tail away from you, and tie your knot, tie your bow. And from there you can start playing with the size of your bow. So I managed that one. Sometimes you have to give this a wiggle before it will start flowing through. Doesn't want to play ball right now. There we go. Sometimes it gets caught up in the knot. So we've got one there, one there. Pull it together. And I don't know if you can see, but by doing it that way round, your bow ends up facing the right way. If you tie your knot the right way round, so to speak, so if you were tying the knot here and tying the bow, your bow would actually be facing upside down. I promise it does make sense. Right, roll that up. And pop that to one side. This is then going to be mat onto a piece of Pear Pizzazz cardstock, so I'm keeping everything coordinated today. And this measures 14.4 centimetres by 10.1 centimetres, and we're just going to use some fast fuse. Remember, flick one way and then the opposite. A little bit bottom and top because it's got the ribbon in there, which can drag it down. There you go. And then that gets popped onto your card base. And because this is all quite one-dimensional so far, it's not been popped up anywhere, I'm just going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals to pop this onto my card base. Make sure you have your card the right way round. Nothing worse than mounting it and finding it's facing in the opposite direction, which I have done many, many times. There you go. And there's today's card. And as you can see, they do differ. And that's the nature of card making, and that's really what I do love about handmade cards, is that each one will always have a slight difference to the other. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you've got any questions on the masking technique or anything else at all, then please drop me a line. You'll find all of my social media accounts details in the more information at the bottom of today's video, along with the link to my online store, and my blog is www.stampingatthewarren.blogspot.co.uk. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.